Hi everybody, it's nice to see you again. My name is Caitlin McGuire and I am an English learner teacher at Dr. Charles R. Drew Elementary School. Today we are going to be working on some more phonemic awareness activities. Our first activity will be adding sounds to words or adding phonemes to words. I'll do the first one so you can see what to do, and then it will be your turn to try the next one. All right, are you ready? Okay, here we go. So for example, if I said the word part Urson, and you would repeat Urson, add p to the beginning, and the word is person. Nice job. Let's try some more together. Ashen, add f to the beginning, and the word is fashion. You got it. Iger, add to the beginning, and the word is tiger. Great work. Isper, add w to the beginning, and the word is whisper. Nice. Able, add k to the beginning, and the word is cable. Excellent. Artner, add p to the beginning, and the word is partner. You did it. Azer, add l to the beginning, and the word is laser. Very good. Okay, for our next activity, this time we are going to be deleting or taking away sounds of words. Okay, you'll watch me do the first one, and then we can try some more together. All right, are you ready? Okay, here we go. So for example, if I said the word feather, and you would repeat and say feather, without the f, what's left is ether. All right, nice job. Let's try some more together. People, without the p, what's left is eeple. Very good. Sunday, without the s, what's left is unday. You got it. Table, without the t, what's left is able. Very good. Never, without the n, what's left is ever. Good job. Bounces, without the b, what's left is ounces. You got it. That was kind of tricky. Mister, without the what's left is ister. There you go. Okay, and our last activity, we are going to be substituting or changing the parts of our words. This time we're going to change the beginning sound of a word. Okay, again, you'll watch me do the first one, and then it will be your turn to try it with me. Okay? All right, so for example, if I said the word money, and you would repeat and say money, change the to s, and the word is sunny. Nice job. All right, let's try some more together. Billion, change the b to and the word is million. You got it. Collar, change the k to d, and the word is dollar. Nice. Table, change the t to k, and the word is cable. Excellent. Harden, change the h to g, and the word is garden. You got it. Renter, change the to s, and the word is center. Nice work. Molar, change the to p, and the word is polar. Nice job. Talking, change the t to w, and the word is walking. You got it. Cherry, change the ch to b, and the word is berry. Excellent. Giggle, change the g to W, and the word is wiggle. You got it. Never. Change the N to O, and the word is lever. Excellent job. Okay, that was our phonemic awareness activities for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Great work.
Hey readers, it's Megan again, and I'm back to teach you another trick about phonics. Another trick like this one. I can remove my thumb with no blood. Check it out. Hurts a little bit, but no blood. So just like that is not actually magic, reading and decoding big words is not actually magic either. You just need to know the tricks. So last week, you watched the video where I showed the trick about breaking words between consonants, okay? If you remember, the vowels are A, E, I, O, U, and we labeled our words and found vowel, consonant, consonant, vowel in the middle of the word. So we broke it here between the consonants, and we knew that this vowel then would be the short vowel sound. So today I want to show you another kind of way to figure out where to break the word, and it will give you a clue as to what the syllable might be, okay? It is breaking the word after the first vowel if you find a vowel, consonant, vowel word. All right, so first let's start with a little vowel review. Whoops. All right, here are the vowels, A, E, I, O, U. Short A, ah, like astronaut. Say that with me. Ah. Long A, like apron. Short E, eh, like egg. Your mouth isn't quite as big as it is for an A. Say that sound. Eh, egg. And long E, easel. Short I, like inchworm. Long I, like ice. Short O, ah, like octopus. Your mouth is really wide. Say that sound. Ah. And long O, like oval. Then we have short U, like you got hit in the stomach. Umpire. And long U, like unicorn. All right, so now let's figure out some bigger 4th and 5th grade words. All right, here's one. Okay, I have a word here. Now, where might I break it? Let's figure it out. All right, so let's find the vowels first and code the vowels. Let's see, A, E, I, O, U. Yep, I see a vowel here. So I'm going to put a little V for vowel. And I see another vowel. All right. Oh, marker's not working very well. Let me code the consonants between the vowels. All right, so any letter that's not a vowel is a consonant. There's our consonant. Okay, now, there are not 2 consonants here between our vowels because we know we can break between the consonants. There's only one. So you're going to break it after the first vowel, right here. Usually, not all the time, but usually this vowel is going to make the long vowel sound, A. So this word is vacant. Vacant. If something is vacant, that means it's empty. You might hear of buildings being called vacant. That means no one is living there. All right, let's see. Let's do another one. Here's one. Okay, do you see some vowels? Me too. Let's see, what's the first one? Yes. Oh, I'm using the brown marker again. What's the second one? Yep. E. So this letter in between is a, yes, consonant. You got it. All right, now we can break it right after the, right after the vowel. So this O is going to be short or long? Usually long O. Long vowels always say their name. So long O is O. Let's try it. Moment. Moment. Like a period of time is a moment. A small period of time. Readers, you did it again. You figured out where to break some really tricky 4th and 5th grade words. Knowing where to break them will help you to be able to read them. Okay? When you find some tricky words in your books today, write them down and see if it's a VCV word. And then you'll know to break it after the first vowel. Okay? And you'll know that that vowel is usually the long vowel sound. All right, another trick in phonics. See you next week.
Hi, 4th and 5th graders. The next part of our video today will be a writing lesson with me, Miss Kirch. During this time at home, some of you may have been writing in a journal or notebook, and some of you may not have been writing very much since school ended. That's okay. Today, we're all going to write. Yes, really. Not just me, you too. So, you will need 2 things for today's lesson. First, something to write with, like a pencil or a pen, and something to write on. Perhaps you have your writer's notebook from school. Maybe you have a journal of your own. Or maybe you find a piece of paper. Right now, go find those 2 things. Yes, now, really, go. I'll wait here. You have 30 seconds. Are you back? Great job. Whew. So you've got your thing to write with and thing to write on. Excellent. Now you can take some deep breaths while I tell you the standards of learning we'll be focusing on today. 4th and 5th graders have the same standard. Select, audience, and purpose for writing. We have 2 objectives that we'll accomplish during our time together today. The students will select an audience and purpose for writing. In other words, choose an audience and a purpose. And we'll go over those 2 words in just a minute. And students will generate or think of ideas for fiction writing. So you can think of this lesson today as having 2 parts. Now it's time for part 1. Now, writers, I'm imagining that you, like me, are sitting down with your notebook or your piece of paper, and it's blank. And getting started writing is usually the hardest part. Now, I have a strategy for you for when you are just sitting down to write. Are you ready? The strategy or the idea, the tip, is imagine your audience, or you could say the people who will read your writing. Think to yourself, who are you writing for? Who will read your writing? It might be your teacher. You might share it with someone at home, or you might just be writing for yourself. Pause and think about that for a moment. Who am I writing for? I know, I'm going to be writing for my mom. Now, this second part of imagining your audience is to draw a quick sketch of that person or put a photograph where you can see it. I'm sure I have a picture of my mom around here somewhere, but for time, I think I'll do a quick sketch. Really, I am. And you're going to do it too. Imagine your audience. Who would you like to read your writing? And draw a quick sketch at the top of your paper. Just a little quick one at the top. Or you could grab a photo of that person. We'll take about 30 seconds to do this. Go ahead. Doing my best. There's my drawing of my mom. Great job, everyone. Okay, so now I've selected my audience, or the person who will read my writing. Now, what is my purpose or my reason for writing? What do I want to tell her? Well, I know my mom likes stories, so I'll write a fiction story for her today. That's the kind of writing I will be doing. If we were writing something for science class, we would write a nonfiction or information piece. But let's all write stories today, okay? Will you do that with me? Awesome. I'm not going to leave you hanging. Now that we've selected our audience and imagined our purpose or the reason for our writing, we can start to write. Ready, set, go. Just kidding. I know we need ideas for our stories. That takes us to part 2. Generate ideas for fiction writing. We need to make or think of some ideas. I'm going to show you not 1, not 2, but 3 strategies for getting ideas. And you might be thinking, heart, sun, smiley face? That makes no sense. But let me explain. Our first strategy for generating ideas for a story is to start with a feeling. I'm going to make a quick chart on my paper. If you only have one piece of paper, make it only about halfway down. Use only half your paper. We have 3 strategies. I'm going to put a heart to remind me that we're going to be listing feelings. So I'm going to use markers so you can see better. Now, on the left side, we're going to list some feelings. And on the right, we'll list times we have had those feelings. Now, let's think of some feelings. Go ahead, tell me some ideas. I heard someone say happy. Great. Another. Yes, sad. Mad, surprised, scared. These are great. Now, I listed feelings, and now I'm going to write a time that somebody had that feeling. Okay, happy. Well, I had my favorite food for dinner yesterday. That made me happy. And my sister played with me today. That also made me happy. Now it's your turn. I'm going to give you a minute to write down a feeling. You can use some of mine or think of your own. And then write when someone might experience that feeling. I'll do it too. Let's begin. If you finish one feeling, do another. Now let's see how we did. Show me your paper. Great job. If you didn't finish, that's okay. You can keep working after the video is over. So, writers, we have learned that one way to generate or think of ideas for fiction writing is to start with feelings. Let's take a look at the second strategy to come up with ideas. The second strategy is we can start with the setting, where and when the story happens. I chose the sun for this one because maybe my setting is outside on a sunny day. Or maybe you're like me and you've been spending a lot of time inside recently. Like right now, I'm in the kitchen. And I'm going to look around and get ideas for stories from the setting. Oh, I see the oven. That reminds me of the time I made cookies, but I forgot about them. And the bottoms got burned, but I just scraped that part off and they still tasted pretty good. I'm going to jot that down. Kitchen, burned cookies. And let me see. There's the sink. What could I write about that? I do dishes every night after dinner. So writers, do you see how I'm using the setting to spark ideas for things that have happened? Now we're going to try it together. Turn to a fresh page in your notebook, or if you only have one piece of paper, you can use the bottom half. I'll give you about a minute, and you're going to write a setting. It could be where you are right now or a different place. And then list things that happen in that setting. Go ahead. If you've listed things that happen in one setting, choose another setting. All right, let me see your work. It's okay if you're not finished, you can continue later. Oh, I see someone did outside. I like that idea. I could look out the window and see if that gives me any ideas for a story. Great work, everyone. Okay, writers, we've learned 2 ways to generate ideas for writing, starting with a feeling or starting with a setting. I have one more strategy to show you. Drum roll, please. Start with a character. Of course, a character is who or what the story is about. You may have done this strategy with your teacher at the beginning of 4th grade when you wrote realistic fiction stories. When we start with a character, we can choose any one we want. When I start with a character, I like to think about myself and how I want the character to be the same as me or different. I'm a teacher. Do I want to make my character like me or different? I don't think I want my character to be a teacher. I think I want to write about a student. And I'm actually going to begin to sketch this student, and then I'm going to make a list of things about her. So here I go. Just a quick sketch. Now I'm going to think about my character. What does she like or dislike? Well, what do I like? I like dogs. Maybe she likes dogs too. And what else? I like to spend time outside, but maybe she prefers to be inside. Writers, do you see what I'm doing? I'm thinking about what I like and comparing that to my character. You can do the same thing. In fact, here's a list of questions you can ask yourself about your character. What does he or she want? What are her strengths and weaknesses? What does he look like? And more. Remember, you can answer these questions however you want. Your character can be anyone. We're going to take about a minute now to sketch our characters and write some notes about what they are like. So, either turn to the back of your paper or turn to a fresh page in your notebook and get started on your character. All right, take a few more seconds to finish up. Let's see those characters. Show me. Nice job. Keep working on those after this video is over. Now, let's reflect and review what we have learned. Remember, if you're stuck for ideas, first, think about your audience and your purpose. Who is going to read your writing? What type is it going to be? Information writing, personal narrative, or a fiction story? And if it is a fiction story, you can use these 3 strategies to generate ideas. Writers, you have a bunch of story ideas in your notebook or on your pieces of paper. You can take a break at the end of this video, but I hope that you begin to draft some of these stories. In fact, let's make a plan before we end. I'm going to look back over what I wrote. And the great thing is, I can use one idea or maybe 2 or many of these ideas. Like maybe I want to keep my character, the student that I started, but then on the feelings page, I wrote about when I was happy when my sister played with me. So maybe this character doesn't have a sister and wants someone to play with her. So that's one idea of a story I can write. What's another one? Oh, when I burned the cookies. What if I hadn't gotten to the cookies in time and they got totally burned and I needed the cookies for a baking contest? Yes, I'm going to circle that one. That's a good idea. So writers, do you see how I use these ideas to start to think of a story? You can do the same thing with your list of ideas when we finish here. Take your time, look over your ideas, and pick one to start writing. And when you're finished with your story, share it with someone. Happy writing!
Hi friends, I'm Miss Pierce and I teach 5th grade at Charles R. Drew Elementary. I'm so excited to be here with you today for this math workshop session. The first thing we're going to do is number sense, which is going to be an incomplete set. And then we're going to do an activity where we order fractions on a number line. And lastly, you'll have a reflection and family tip. Let's get started. Today is an incomplete set, and what that means is that the three values that are shown are all equivalent. So they all are the same value, just shown in different ways, fractions and decimals in this case. What your job is to find a value that can fit into this empty space that is also equivalent to the other three values already shown. So there's a lot of different things you can do. You can think about money, you can think about pictures, you can think about percents, but it needs to be equivalent to 3/4, 75 hundredths, and 9/12. One example that could fit here is 75%. 75% is equivalent to 3/4, 75 hundredths, and 9/12. Another value that could fit this set would be 75 100ths, written as a fraction, which really connects to this decimal value. If you say it out loud, 75 hundredths sounds the same as 75 hundredths written as a fraction. Another way you could show equivalency is just by drawing a picture. So you could draw a circle, cut it in half, now you have halves, and cut those halves in half, and now you have quarters, and you could shade 3 of them, which would also be an equivalent value of 3/4, 9/12, and 75 hundredths. There's many other ways to complete this set. You could think about money, you can think about other equivalent fractions, but as long as it is equivalent to all three of these values that are shown, then you've got it. Today's activity is going to include ordering fractions on a number line, and this is going to give us a little bit of number sense about fractions in general. And we're going to start with a small number line that's just starting with 0 and ending with 1. So what that tells us is that all of our values at the top, 1/2, 3/4, and 1/4, are all going to fall between 0 and 1. They're greater than 0, but less than 1. All of the fractions that are present can be used as benchmark fractions when you're ordering other fractions that are not equivalent to halves or fourths in some way. So these fractions kind of anchor you down when you're trying to order other fractions as well. The first fraction that I'm going to start with in placing it on this number line is 1/2, because I know that it's going to go right in the middle between 0 and 1. Now that I have 1/2 as a benchmark fraction, it's going to be easy to place the other two in here because I can easily split my halves in half. Now when I look at this side of my number line, just between 0 and 1/2, I know that 1/4 is going to be moved there because 1/4 is half of a half. Now, when you look to the other side, between 1/2 and 1, 3/4 also fits in the middle in between those two values. You know that this is correct because our denominator is 4. So we're splitting this number line into 4 parts, and you can see those parts here. Here's 1/4, here's a 2/4, which is equivalent to 1/2. So these are equivalent fractions. Here's our 3/4, and here's our 4/4, which makes it one complete whole. The last point I want to make here is that these fractions are ordered from least to greatest. So the fractions we had were 1/4, 1/2, and 3/4, and we put them in order from the smallest value to the largest value on our number line. In this activity, we're going to look at a number line in a different way. First, you may notice that this number line is vertical, and we're starting with 0 and ending with 2. So in the previous activity, we looked at just values that we would find between 0 and 1, and now we're looking at values that we may find between 0 and 2. So in order to help me make sense of this number line, I'm actually going to put a number 1 in the middle, because that's about halfway, it is halfway between 0 and 2. So this number 1 is going to give me a benchmark that I can use to place my other fractions between either 0 and 1 or 1 and 2. In order to help me make a little bit more sense of these values that I see, I'm going to shift them to either between 0 and 1 or greater than 1, which would fall between 1 and 2. So I know that 3/5, 1/8, and 2/4 are all less than 1, and that 1 and 4/5 and 1 and 1/3 are all greater than 1. So I'm going to move them to the second half of my number line and then start to figure out where I should place these values. In looking at the values that I placed between 0 and 1, I'm going to start with 2/4 because that's equivalent to 1/2. So I can actually put that between 0 and 1, which that can now also act as another benchmark for me to think about 3/5 and 1/8. Now that I have some benchmarks here, I'm going to shift my focus to 3/5. I know when I'm counting by fifths, I'm adding 2/10 or 20/100 each time. So I can start to think about the value of 3/5 by counting by 2/10. So I can do 2/10, 2/5 would be 4/10, 3/5 would be 6/10, which is larger than 1/2. So I'm going to place 3/5 a little bit beyond 2/4. Lastly, in my values less than 1, I'm thinking about 1/8. And 1/8 is equivalent to 0 and 125 thousandths as a decimal. And what that tells me is it's pretty close to 1/10 as a decimal, so I'm going to put it very close to 0. And again, please remember that these squares that I have the fractions written in are pretty big. It may not be as accurate between each one, but we can still try to estimate where these values would fall on a number line. So now looking at values greater than 1, I have 1 and 1/3 and 1 and 4/5. The way that I'm going to first determine where 1 and 1/3 goes is I'm going to split what's left between 1 and 2, this area on my number line. I'm going to split it into 3 parts because 3 is my denominator. So if I split this into 3 equal parts, you can see here is kind of part 1, part 2, and part 3. That will help me to determine where 1 and 1/3 should be placed. And as you can see, this one part up here, this first part, is where I'm going to put 1/3 because I have one whole, and then I have another third added to it. Now I use that same strategy for 1 and 4/5. I actually just split that same area between 1 and 2 into 5 parts because our denominator is 5 in this case. And now I can see that I have 1, 2, 3 parts, 4 parts, 5 parts. So I can move 1 and 4/5 to that 4th spot. So as you can see, 1/8 is the smallest of the values that I was given, and 1 and 4/5 is the largest. And what helped me to determine where I place these values on a number line is creating some benchmark fractions to help me understand. In this activity, you have a chance to try to order these fractions from least to greatest. And again, you see a vertical number line, and this time it's only between 1 and 2. So all of your values that you're working with are greater than 1 and less than 2. In looking at these values, I noticed that 1.5 is there, and that would be a great benchmark for me to use to put in between 1 and 2. So that's a great place to start. And I can start thinking about if all of these other values that are present are greater than 1.5 or less than 1.5. I know that 1 and 1/5 is 1 and 2/10, so I can move that closer to 1 and less than 1 and 1/2. And I also know that 1 and 3/8 is going to be pretty close to 1.5 because 1 and 4/8 would be 1/2. So I'm going to place 1 3/8 in between, which I also know is 1 and 375 thousandths. So it is pretty much between 1 and 1/5 and 1 and 5/10, which would be 1.5. The last two values are kind of tricky, so if you can't remember their decimal equivalencies, an easy way to maybe figure out where to place these values on a number line would be to split up this whole, because we're looking between 1 and 2, which is one complete whole, so we can split this number line up to at least place these values there if we can't remember. All I did here was just draw 2 lines using the highlighter tool in order to split this whole into 3 parts so that I could easily figure out where to put 1 and 2/3. And that would go right here on my second part. Now for our last value, if you couldn't remember that 1 and 7/8 is going to be 1 and 875 thousandths, that's a pretty tricky one. An easy thing that you can do is look at the fraction, which is 7/8. And 7 out of 8 parts is pretty close to a whole. So just by using that, you can move 1 and 7/8 to pretty close to 2. So your reflection today is to think about if you would rather have 1/4 of a cake or 1/5 of a cake. Why? How could you justify your answer? You may want to draw a picture or come up with an equivalent decimal to help you answer this question. This week's family tip is to ask your child to help put the amount of ingredients in order from greatest to least or least to greatest while you're baking something. You can ask them questions like, what's the largest amount? What's the smallest amount? Which amount may be somewhere in the middle? Or you can even ask them questions like, which is larger, 1/3 or 1/4? Or substitute any other fractions you see in your recipe. Remember to ask them how they know so that they get into practice of justifying their answer.
Hi, my name is Erin San. I'm a teacher and a mindfulness coach. That means that I help people just like you use all of their senses to notice from moment to moment what is happening in their lives without any judgment in order to bring a greater sense of ease and joy into your life, and so you can stress a lot less. Today I'm going to share with you an activity that has us think before we speak. It's important in our lives for us to stand up for ourselves, to be our own advocate, to be assertive, to stand up for what it is that we need or want at any given time. But before we speak up for what we need or want, we have to first notice what it is that we need or want. So let's take a moment to check in. Find yourself arriving in a comfortable seat, remembering that sometimes you have to move and shake and wiggle and jiggle a little bit before you can settle comfortably into stillness. Once you arrive there, take a big breath in, let a full breath go. Do that once more because it feels really nice to cleanse. Big breath in. Full breath out, giving yourself a chance to arrive in this moment. Maybe you close your eyes. If it's more comfortable for you to keep them open, let the gaze land down below, quieting any distractions. Just take a moment to check in with yourself to see, what do you need right now? Maybe there's something you need to satisfy your physical body. Maybe you're hungry. Maybe you're thirsty. Maybe there's something you need to satisfy your emotional body. Maybe you're sad and you want to talk about it with a friend. Maybe there's something that's making you scared or worried. Think about what it is that you need right now. Sometimes we can take care of satisfying our own needs. We can help ourselves in many ways, but other times we need to go seek help. So we look to someone whom we trust. Maybe it's a family member or someone at your school or your very best friend. When it comes time for standing up for yourself and asking for what you need, it's important that you do it in a way that feels right and truly communicates what it is that you need. So I want to introduce you to the acronym THINK. Think. The T in think means, is what you're about to say true? The H is what you're about to say helpful? The I is what you're about to say inspiring? The N means, is what you're about to say necessary? And the K is what you're about to say kind? There are lots of ways that we can ask for the things that we need. There are lots of ways that we can be assertive, but there are also lots of ways that we can communicate so we can continue to be kind and helpful and inspiring and honest. So next time you want to ask for something or say something in order to assert yourself or to ask for something that you need, make sure you take a little moment of pause to think about what it is you're asking for or sharing before you say it. That's another way to be very mindful. Thank you so much for practicing with us today. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Second Step lessons are created by Committee for Children, who owns and controls all rights therein. Permission was granted to district to make and broadcast this video for educational use only by district parents, families, teachers, and counselors with students currently learning via television broadcast due to the impact of COVID-19. No other use of this video or Second Step lessons is permitted. Committee for Children, 2020. Hi, Emily. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. Hello, Ms. Davis.
So today we're going to talk about being assertive. And being assertive, it'll help you communicate what you need or want to other people in a respectful way. And sometimes the way we hold our body can also send a message to people about what we want or how we want to be treated. So being assertive is different from being passive or aggressive. Do those words sound familiar?
Yes, they do.
So if you're being passive, you actually might feel afraid that you don't have the right to say something. And your body might show people that you're feeling passive. How do you think a passive body looks?
Probably very slouched, and they're probably looking in a different direction, like maybe at the ground.
Yeah, their body's like leaning forward, right? They're not making eye contact. Do you think that's a good way to get what you need or you want?
No.
Yeah, probably not. What about the other opposite side? So being aggressive, right? So if you're aggressive, you are often being really demanding and you're not thinking about other people's feelings or perspectives. How do you think your body looks if you're being aggressive?
You're probably standing tall, and your face is very like bossy, and you're just like, your body language is just very like aggressive and like pushy, and
Yeah. You might have your face might look kind of bossy, right? Maybe your arms are crossed, right? You probably don't look very nice if you're looking aggressive, right? So being assertive is the nice in the middle, right, way to be respectful when you are trying to say something or trying to ask for something. And it can help you get, work out problems with your friends or talk with your teachers or even with your parents. So today we're going to watch some videos about assertive communication and then do a little bit of practice together. How does that sound?
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, so I'm going to show you a video, and I want you to notice how Carly is behaving. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you.
I got it. Hey, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna be next. I'm really good at this game, aren't I, Nisi? I'll be the first wearer by the time you get back into the game. Come on, Ethan, get out of my way. Recess is almost over. You can't.
All right. So, what do you think Carly needs or wants?
Well, she wants to play and she wants to win, and she's being very aggressive about it. She's
Yeah.
not being nice at all.
No, she wasn't, right? She really wants to play. She wants to cut in line, right? I mean,
She wants to be first.
She wants to be first. So tell me about her body and her voice. Describe that to me.
It's very bossy. Her voice was very like aggressive, and she was just like pushing people and very like stern and rude.
Yeah, it wasn't really nice. She was actually pushing people, right? It was definitely rude. And you said it, right? That was aggressive, okay? So let's think about how everyone else was feeling. How do you think Carly's behavior made the other people feel?
Probably felt very uncomfortable and like awkward, and just like they didn't like it.
Yeah, I agree. I think they looked uncomfortable, probably were upset, you know? So I'm going to show you that scene one more time, but this time I want you to pay attention to Ethan, okay?
Okay.
I got it. Hey, I'm gonna play. Be next. I'm really good at this game, aren't I, Nisi? I'll be the first wearer by the time you get back into the game. Come on, Ethan, get out of my way. Recess is almost over. You can't.
All right. Now, what do you think Ethan wants?
He wants to say something, but it looks like he's a bit scared to.
Yeah, he tried a little bit, right? Can you tell me about his body and his voice?
It was like quiet, then it got louder as he like tried to say something, but then he was like, never mind. And he kind of like backed down and like hunched over again.
Yeah, he looked down, he hunched over, right? We can tell he didn't want Carly to cut, right? He didn't want
He
her
did
to
want
cut.
it.
So do you think that was passive, assertive, or aggressive, the way he was communicating?
It was definitely passive. I mean, he tried to be assertive, but kind of backward.
Yeah, he tried, but it ended up being passive. And did it work?
No.
No, right? So he's not going to be able to get what he wants, right? Communicate that way. All right, so let's watch a different clip now. And I want you to pay attention here to Nisi, okay?
Okay.
Hey, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna be next. I'm really good at this game, aren't I, Nisi? I'll be the first wearer by the time you get back into the game. Come on, Ethan, get out of my way. Recess is almost over. I know. You can't.
Kylie, if you want to play, you need to get in the back of the line. We all need to wait our turn.
All right. So what did Nisi need or want?
She wanted to tell Carly that wasn't okay, and she did. Is very assertive, and she like got justice, but was nice about it. But also was also like firm, but in a kind way and respectful.
Yeah, definitely. You got it. That was assertive, right? She was calm. She was facing her, looking at her. She wasn't mean, didn't use any disrespectful words, right? But she meant it, right? She definitely meant it. And did Carly understand?
Yeah, she did understand. It looked like it took her time to process it, but she did.
She did, right? And then she moved to the back of the line, right?
Mhm.
So that is such a great example of how when we use an assertive voice to communicate, it can really help us, right? So in real life, though, it's not always so easy to use an assertive voice. So this is why we practice. Are you up for a little practice?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I'm going to read you a scenario, and I want you to think about how would you assertively respond in this scenario, okay? And remember, when we use assertive language, we're respectful, but we're firm, right? And we face the person, right? We stand up straight. Okay, so here's the first one. Your friend wants to copy your assignment. Assertively tell your friend that you don't want them to copy.
Okay. Look, sorry, but you can't copy my answers. You have to work and get the answers on your own.
Yeah, simple, clear, right? We're respectful. You think they'll understand?
Yeah, probably.
I hope so, right? All right, what about somebody tries to push in front of you in the lunch line? Assertively tell that person, get to the back of the line.
Hey, you can't skip. We're all waiting here. You need to get to the back of the line. You can't just skip in front of people.
Yeah, right? Just be clear. This is the rule. It's not fair, right? What if they say, no, I'm going to cut anyway? What might you do?
I mean, I would probably either try to get them to the back line, or I would tell someone. I just tell an adult.
Yeah, absolutely, right? When we use our assertive voice to try and fix a situation or have the right thing happen, the other person should be respectful too and listen. But if they're not, we can always ask an adult, right? Always ask an adult for help. And let's do one more, okay? You're playing with a friend at recess, and your friend starts teasing a younger student about their shoes.
Oh my gosh.
Assertively tell your friend to stop teasing.
Okay, hey, that's not nice. You shouldn't tease him about his shoes. You wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want that to happen to you, so that's not nice. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, awesome, Amelie. I love how you related it back to that person, right? That's you were using empathy, right? You were like, hey, would you like that, right? If somebody did that to you, that's a great way to use assertive communication. So awesome job. I hope next time you need or want something, you're able to use your own assertive voice, calm and respectful and firm, and be able to communicate that clearly, and it'll be helpful to you. Thanks for joining me today.
Bye.
Bye.
Hola chicos, me llamo Laura Muffson y soy una maestra bilingüe en la Escuela de Inmersión Claremont. Hoy vamos a aprender sobre las fracciones. Durante la lección de hoy vamos a contestar las siguientes preguntas. ¿Qué es una fracción? ¿Qué representa? ¿Qué es un numerador? ¿Denominador? ¿Y cómo podemos comparar las fracciones? Espero que ya tengas alguna idea de cómo contestar estas preguntas. Pero antes de la lección, vamos a empezar con una rutina numérica para practicar con la comparación en matemáticas. ¡Empezamos!
Para la rutina numérica de hoy, vamos a hacer una actividad que se llama Adivina la regla. Les voy a mostrar algunos números en una tabla. Un lado de la tabla dice sí, significa que los números siguen la regla. Y el otro lado no, significa que los números no siguen la regla. Tienen que determinar qué es la regla basado en la tabla. Entonces, en este ejemplo, los números en la columna sí son 2, 4 y 6. ¿Qué tienen estos números en común? Y los números que no siguen la regla son 3, 5 y 7. Como estos números son diferentes que los números en la columna de sí. ¿Saben qué es la regla? La regla es los números pares. 2, 4 y 6 son números pares y 3, 5 y 7 no son números pares. Vamos a empezar. Les voy a mostrar un número a la vez y pueden adivinar la regla en cualquier momento. ¿Anotan alguna similitud entre los números que están en la columna de sí y cómo los números en la columna de no son diferentes? Les voy a dar una pista. Esta vez, la regla tiene que ver con valor posicional. ¿La adivinaste? La regla es que los números tienen el 5 en el lugar de las decenas. Siguiente. ¿Anotan lo que tienen en común 9, 21, 33 y 55? ¿Y cómo son diferentes 20, 14, 10 y 35? Una pista. Esta vez la regla tiene que ver con múltiplos. ¿Adivinaste la regla? La regla es, los números son los múltiplos de 3. Y el último. Esto es un poquito más difícil. Una pista. La regla otra vez tiene que ver con valor posicional. ¿Qué anotan sobre los números en la columna de sí? ¿Y cómo son diferentes los números en la columna de no? ¿Adivinaste la regla? El número en las decenas es mayor que 5. Buen trabajo, niños. Para la lección de hoy vamos a hablar sobre las fracciones. Vamos a empezar con el vocabulario de hoy. Primero, fracciones. Una fracción es una parte de un entero. Numerador es el número en la parte de arriba de la fracción. Denominador es el número en la parte de abajo de la fracción. El numerador representa cuántas partes hay en la fracción. En este caso, 3 partes de la pizza. El denominador representa cuántas partes hay en total. En este caso, la pizza fue cortada en 4 partes en total. Por eso, la fracción de esta pizza es 3/4. Más que significa que un número es más grande que el otro. Menor que significa que el número es menor que el otro. Igual a, los dos números o las dos cantidades son las mismas. Y una recta numérica. ¿Qué es una fracción? Una fracción es una manera de representar parte de un entero. En este caso, esto es una fracción de la torta, porque es una parte de la torta entera. La torta está cortada en 8 partes, entonces esto es 1/8 de la torta. Puede representar parte de un grupo, Aquí hay un grupo de perros. ¿Cuántos perros tienen la lengua afuera? 5 perros. De los 6, entonces 5 sextos. Puede representar también parte de una área. Por ejemplo, esta mesa está cortado en tercios. Esto va a ser un tercio de la mesa. Y también una fracción puede representar parte de una medida. Por ejemplo, esta regla mide 12 pulgadas y la crayola es la mitad de la regla o la mitad de un pie. ¿Cómo podemos comparar fracciones? Cuando los denominadores son iguales, en este caso 2/4 y 3/4, significa que los dos enteros están cortados en las mismas partes, 4. Entonces, solamente tenemos que comparar los numeradores. ¿Cuántas partes de los cuartos hay? 2 y 3. Entonces, ¿qué número es más grande? El 3. Entonces, 2/4 es menor que 3/4. Pero, ¿cómo podemos comparar fracciones cuando los denominadores son diferentes? Primero, vamos a comparar los denominadores diferentes. Aquí hay una gráfica que tiene un entero en la parte de arriba y el entero está cortado en fracciones diferentes hasta un doceavo, un medio, un tercio, un cuarto, un quinto, un sexto, un octavo, un décimo y un doceavo. ¿Qué observan sobre el tamaño de la fracción y el denominador de la fracción? Las fracciones se hacen más pequeños cuando el denominador se hace más grande porque estamos cortando el entero en más partes y así los pedazos se hacen más pequeños. Vamos a ver. Aquí hay un entero. Lo vamos a cortar a la mitad. Luego en tercios, cuartos, quintos, sextos, octavos, décimos, doceavos. ¿Anotaron que cuando lo cortamos en más partes, los pedazos se hicieron más pequeños? Y por eso, cuando el denominador es más grande, en este caso un doceavo, los pedazos son más pequeños. Pero cuando el denominador es más pequeño, como un medio, los pedazos son más grandes. Entonces, ahora que entendemos la relación entre el denominador y el tamaño de la fracción, ¿cómo podemos comparar un doceavo y un quinto? ¿Qué fracción va a ser más grande y más pequeño? Un quinto, el denominador 5, es más pequeño que 12. Esto significa que la fracción va a ser más grande. Entonces, un quinto es mayor que un doceavo. Vamos a hacer otro. Un cuarto y un sexto. ¿Cuál fracción va a ser mayor o menor que el otro? Un cuarto, el 4 es menor que el 6. Esto significa que la fracción va a ser mayor. Entonces, un cuarto es mayor que un sexto. Pero, ¿cómo podemos comparar fracciones con denominadores diferentes y numeradores diferentes? En este caso, 2/5 y 7/8. En este caso, vamos a usar una recta numérica para ayudarnos. En el lado a la izquierda representa 0. En el medio representa la mitad. Y a la derecha un entero. ¿Dónde vamos a meter en esta recta numérica 2/5 y 7/8? Tienen que pensar, ¿cuál fracción está más cerca a 0 y cuál fracción está más cerca a un entero? 7/8 es casi 8/8, que va a ser un entero. Entonces sabemos que 7/8 está más cerca a un entero. 2/5 va a ser menor que la mitad y más cerca a 0. Entonces sabemos que 2/5 es menor que 7/8. Vamos a hacer otro ejemplo. 3/4 y 2/6. Otra vez, de las dos fracciones, ¿cuál está más cerca a un entero? 3/4, porque 3/4 es casi 4/4, que será un entero. Y 2/6 es un poquito menos de una mitad, porque 3/6 sería una mitad. Entonces sabemos que 3/4 es mayor que 2/6. Espero que hayan aprendido más de cómo comparar las fracciones. Para terminar, vamos a hacer una reflexión lo que hemos aprendido hoy. Imagínate que tu amigo o amiga no vio la lección de hoy sobre fracciones. ¿Cómo usarías dibujos o imágenes para explicarles cómo comparar fracciones? Cuando termines con tu dibujo, etiqueta las partes diferentes de tus dibujos usando las siguientes palabras: fracción, numerador, denominador, menor que, mayor que, igual a, recta numérica, parte, entero. Sean creativos con sus dibujos y diviértanse.
Papás, gracias por apoyar el aprendizaje de las matemáticas en la casa. Las fracciones existen en todas partes de nuestras vidas, pero especialmente en la cocina. Una manera en que pueden seguir practicando con las fracciones en casa es: escoge una receta que quieres preparar con tu hijo o hija. Lee la lista de ingredientes en voz alta y observen las fracciones. Mientras están preparando los ingredientes, haz preguntas de comparación sobre las cantidades diferentes de los ingredientes. Por ejemplo, ¿qué ingrediente tiene la cantidad mayor que los otros en la receta? ¿Qué ingrediente tiene la cantidad menor que los otros en la receta? ¿O hay algunos ingredientes que tienen la misma cantidad? Es importante tener conversaciones acerca de las matemáticas en la casa con sus niños y ver cómo la podemos encontrar en la vida real. Gracias por ver este episodio de At Home with APS. Espero que hayan aprendido algo nuevo sobre las matemáticas y nos vemos pronto. ¡Adiós!